Today on Locked On Rockies, more change for the Colorado Rockies as we got a new GM, waving of more players, and the roster turnover continues. Are you starting to build more confidence in the Colorado Rockies?
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 8th day of December in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. So many of you everydayers have been tuning in throughout the show, throughout the offseason, and more. So I really appreciate each and every one of you for making us your first listen of the day and helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate all of you. We are now 14,000 plus subscribers strong on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Love that. Love all your comments. Remember, be part of the show. Fire off your Rockies hot takes. Let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies by checking out the Locked On Rockies YouTube comments section. And if you're wondering who I am Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk for over 5 seasons now, and been following this team my entire life. I got my Rockies rookie stuff. It's blocked by my head. Let me move here real quick on the YouTube side. But you can see a new addition to the Locked On Rockies set. It's hard to see, but I got this very cool plaque from Rocktober with baseball cards from the starting lineup from there. Another relic as I was picking up from my parents' house there as we continue to add on. But thank you again so much for making it your first listen of the day. Big news breaking as we took a little bit of our break there. I was off visiting some family here, and the Rockies go ahead and waive some more prospects, and they also hire their new GM. And hey, when you're talking about moves that out of everything that we've seen so far, this might be the move that looks like a potential needle mover. And let's talk about that and more coming up on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we go any further, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL bets all season long. Folks, so as I am gone, as I was heading out of town, as I'm heading to the airport, now 2 for 2 in my trip. Maybe I got to start going to, whenever I go to the airport here, maybe I got to start feeling like Rockies news is going to break. I was in the airport when the Rockies hire Paul DePodesta, and I was in the airport here when the Rockies hire Josh Byrnes here. And let's read a little bit about Josh Byrnes here from Thomas Harding's. Byrnes returns to Rockies as new GM after success with Dodgers over on MLB.com. Josh Byrnes' oversight of the Dodgers' successful scouting and player development operation over the last 11 years led to his hiring as the new general manager of the Rockies on Wednesday. Of course, Wednesday of last week. So Wednesday of last week, a reading from here. Rockies president of baseball operations Paul DePodesta sees Byrnes' talents, often overlooked because of the Dodgers' ability to sign and trade for star players, as being essential for Colorado's revamp, which comes after 7 straight losing seasons. The Dodgers have obviously done a tremendous job across a lot of different areas over the last decade, but what gets overlooked is that they haven't had tremendous opportunity in the draft, DePodesta said. They've been so good that they're typically picking at the very end of the draft, yet you look up and their farm system is elite. That doesn't just happen. That takes a tremendous amount of effort in terms of scouting and in terms of player development, and having both of those departments sort of clicking on all cylinders. Josh has been instrumental in making that happen. Byrnes worked with D. Podesta in the late 1990s with Cleveland at the start of both of their careers. In his first full season as the Rockies' assistant GM, Byrnes at age 29 was the youngest person in that position in the National League. The youngest assistant GM in MLB at the time was D. Podesta at age 27 while working under Billy Beane with the Athletics. I'm thrilled to be returning to the Rockies organization, especially at such an exciting time for the future of the franchise, Byrnes said in the Rockies official announcement. Working alongside Paul again is an incredible opportunity, and I'm eager to join him and the rest of the group as as we work to bring championship caliber baseball to the Rockies. Byrnes has as much experience elsewhere. He served as assistant GM with the Red Sox from 2003 to 2005, a term that included a World Series championship in 2004, and he was GM of the D-backs October 2005 to July 2010, and Padres October 2011 to June 2014. Josh and I have known each other now for over 30 years, said D. Podesta, who learned after the two were together in Cleveland that they had played high school ball against each other in the Washington, D.C. area. I've said this before. I'm sure you'll hear me say it again. I feel like I get smarter every time I talk to him. That was my first day in Cleveland and continues all the way up until today. I've always been sort of really taken by his intelligence, his intense level of detail. He sees things in our game that the rest of us just don't see and pay attention to. That's always fascinated me. Here's my big first takeaway from this. This is a guy that has seen success in his career. This is a guy that has been able to I think one of the most important things that we read from Thomas Harding right there is talking about the fact that this is a guy that's pulled from the Dodgers system that wasn't a team that was necessarily drafting at the top, had the high draft picks, but was still successful in drafting and developing and creating a farm system that has sustained the success of the Dodgers, mixed with the fact that this is a guy that has now seen the Rockies through the lens of 3 different division rivals. This is a guy that's not unfamiliar with the Rockies, with the experience of working with the Rockies in the past. And I understand that there's a lot of hesitation from some folks and issues with some folks about this being a guy with ties to the Rockies organization. But think about how much time has passed in between. Think about how different things are, and think about how different of a situation this is for the Colorado Rockies. This is a guy that has seen multiple versions of the Colorado Rockies through the lens of the opposition and has been able to be successful in, hey, we're playing the Rockies. Here's this approach here. I mean, again, this is a guy that's, draft and development, but still a guy that has been within the division and has been had an eye on the Rockies and been watching the Rockies throughout their highs and lows through this time. As you mentioned, the connections throughout all those division opponents here through multiple eras of Rockies baseball. I think that this is the move that moves the needle for you as a Rockies fan. I think you sit here and you say, this is a guy that when we talked about our hesitations with D. Podesta and coming back into the modern game and bringing in the new perspectives and my hesitations there, right? We talked about the fact that I was not very confident in the directions there and all the catch up the Rockies were going to have to make with D. Podesta. But now in this GM hire, we're talking about a guy that has seen success, a guy that has helped bring titles, as Harding mentions in Boston, a guy that has helped right the ship in Arizona and San Diego, and a guy that's been a part of a Los Angeles Dodgers team that has dominated baseball now and dominated baseball headlines for a few seasons now. This is the type of move that you sit here and you say, this can be the interesting move. This can be the intriguing thing. This could be a move that shows that the Rockies are moving in a different direction and the Rockies are embracing new philosophy. The Rockies are embracing change here. Because as we're going to talk about coming up here in segment number 2, the Rockies are moving on from guys. And one of the other things that I saw about the Rockies, and I want to make sure I get the full quote here from the Rockies about not just handing out playing time. Things on paper that we're hearing from the Colorado Rockies are different here. things are starting to change, and now we're bringing in a guy that has been able to really help and one of the things, be successful later in the draft, be successful outside of those top picks, but now having the opportunity to go after and evaluate and bring in talent that's at the top of the draft, that's in the higher level, the higher rounds of the draft, higher picks. This should encourage the Rockies to be able to find not only more success in drafting talent at the top of the drafts, but also being able to find guys later in drafts, finding guys like when you're bringing in a guy that's, okay, I've been working with the Dodgers, I've been working with the Padres. We have to find the success. We have to find the good picks later in the drafts, later in the rounds, not the top of the orders. We have to make sure that we're finding success here to continue to build and supplement a strong farm system. And that's what we've seen from the Dodgers here for the past few seasons. It's not just bringing in the great free agent talent. It's the fact that this has been a team that's been successful at drafting, developing, and maintaining a strong farm system here. So this is a guy that's been able to look at the Rockies through so many different lenses, come in here and be able to come in at the ground floor and start building this team together and start building this team from the ground up. Especially when we're talking about hiring for the the position here of GM here. This is now Byrnes' opportunity to start building this roster from the ground up, because the Rockies are clearly not that committed and willing to move on from most pieces and most things that are within the Rockies lineup right now. When we see these wavings and these moves that we've seen of the Rockies here from some guys on the roster, change is here for the Colorado Rockies. It's still going to take some time. We still have to see, and the Rockies are still going to have to show, and Byrnes himself is still going to have to show that he's able to draft, develop, and turn these guys into quality caliber MLB players and do that consistently. Because just like what we're talking about here with the players being consistent, the front office has to be consistent in developing their talent as well. But there were a lot of question marks and things about D. Podesta and the being away from the game, the Browns, and the lack of success and other things. But when you look at the resume of Byrnes here, that's the type of stuff that gets you excited. But the question I think we still have to see, and the thing that still remains for Byrnes and the rest of the people that are in the Rockies front office is, are they going to be given that full autonomy to do what they need to do, to make the decisions, to go after the guys they want, to spend the money they want, to build the team that they want? It certainly seems and implies that Dick Monfort is more willing to be open-minded, but the proof needs to be in the pudding, right? We need to see it before we believe it. So what were your thoughts of Josh Byrnes as the Rockies GM hire here? Are you starting to feel confident in the Colorado Rockies here in their decisions that they're making throughout this part of the season as the winter meetings are here? Big, busy, important time for the Rockies coming up here as we've seen them make some moves. And let's react to some of those roster moves and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. And, hey, we know that to be true as Broncos fans, right? We have seen close game after close game after close game. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. So that means if you're feeling like Bo Nix is in a groove and you want to go on the over on the passing yards, maybe you feel like the Broncos are going to hit the over on points, well, you can check it all out and more on FanDuel. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips over after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. They got live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly, so you're getting the instant reaction up to the date, right up there. Live odds and everything. And you got the player props updates as guys heat up. So who's having a big game? Who's hot? Who's not? You can track it all on FanDuel. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. We are also brought to you by the good folks over at Doer. The holidays are here, and this year I'm not stressing about what to wear because I'll be wearing my Doers. I was just down in Florida, and unfortunately, you'd be sitting there thinking, jeans, long sleeve shirts, Florida, is that really the move? I get crushed by the bugs there. Doer, not only are they keeping me comfortable in those temperatures because they got the Cool Max technology, but I'm looking great and I'm protected from the bugs because they got stylish looking jeans, long sleeve flannels taking care of me here because Doer's denim and lifestyle apparel is engineered for movement and versatility. And as a guy that is on the go often and doing a lot of traveling, it's perfect for me. Doer invented the original performance denim, and it gives the best of both worlds, combining classic jeanswear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. It's time for you to experience the comfort of Doer, and I know you'll love these. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift, and check out Doer in store right here in Denver, 2621 Laramie Street. Mention my promo code Locked On Denver in store to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online at shopduer.com/Locked On Denver for 15% off. That's shopduer.com/Locked On Denver. Locked On Rockies here, back with you for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies, and want to let you know that we got something brand new and exciting for you. You're living your team every day. Now take it up the next level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get today's show and Locked On Rockies with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Head on over and check out the Locked On Rockies Discord Everydayers Club channel here. Let me get you your Locked On Rockies link here real quick here, just as I'm bringing it up. This is brand new for us here, so we're making sure that you folks are doing this. This is access to all sorts of stuff here across the network here. It's not just Locked On Rockies. This is going to get you inside scoops, not only on your Colorado sports, but you can talk with this, all that good stuff here. You can go ahead and check us out on lockedonrockies.supercast.com. Check that out, and you can see that all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. So go and check that out. This is brand new. Can get you access not only to Locked On Rockies, it's going to get you access to all sorts of great stuff from across the Locked On Podcast Network. So shout outs to the Everydayer Club, and shout outs to all our everydayers out there, because we got all sorts of Rockies fans here. And that's why I'm curious, like when you hear this Josh Byrnes news, and this was the move. This was the move I feel like the Rockies have generated the most positive buzz about. Most of the people and the folks that I've seen were encouraged about the Josh Byrnes news here. And that's good to see. And I really hope I really want one of the things that we can get a takeaway from here as spring comes around, as the trade deadline rolls around, and as the season winds down next year, that this is a different Rockies team. It's different talking to them. It's different communicating with them as a front office. It's different working with them as this team continues to rebuild and recreate itself. This is a Rockies team that basically is starting at square one. This isn't a Rockies team that we have your Tovar and your Doyle and your Goodmans and some people to turn, to pull from here. But at the end of the day, this is a Rockies team that is starting from absolutely square one. And so I really hope that this is the opportunity, and I hope that Byrnes is able to make this a team that's serious. This is a team that performs. This is a team that through his work, through the decisions that he makes, rebuilds and repairs its reputation throughout Major League Baseball as a competitive baseball team. That is something that we haven't really talked about a ton. With all the changes with the front office, the coaching staff, and everything, all the changes within this organization, is they have a huge task ahead of them, which is changing the reputation of the Rockies, throughout the execs in the baseball of what it's like to work with the Colorado Rockies and try to make deals with the Colorado Rockies, changing the reputation of their ability to develop and find talent and create talent and make themselves a competitive team. Change the all that stuff about the Rockies and their inability to develop players. It's huge. And this is an opportunity for them to really show it. I mean, it's going to take time. It's going to take it's going to take a lot more work and not just to hire and looking at things solely on paper. They have to execute their vision and execute their goals. But this seems like the move that's been made so far this offseason that's been met with the most amount of positive reception. This is the move that's raised the most amount of eyebrows. This is the move that has sent the signal of change about the Colorado Rockies, the signal that's hit the hardest, the loudest one, so to speak. So, is this a game changer for you? Is this a move that you're sitting here and thinking that change is going to come, or are you still hesitant? Let me know in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. As my mic, this has just been terrible today. My mic stand has just said, "Hey, you took a vacation. We're going to punish you. We're going to keep falling over." So apologies for that. If you're listening on the audio side and there's random things where the audio sound, I start sounding like I'm falling down a cliff. My mic arm is betraying me a little bit here. But all in all, I think that we can start feeling a little bit more encouraged about the change that's happening with the Colorado Rockies. And that happens with, and it comes with the tough decisions that the Rockies have made on some of their of waiving certain players and not protecting certain players and moving on from certain players. And then also an interesting little comment that we've seen about this new regime for how the Rockies are going to approach giving guys playing time in 2026. Let's talk about that and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Gametime. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. Yes, you want to go. Yes, you want to be part of the action. Yes, you want to see the world's best on the world's biggest stage. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Gametime app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Gametime, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts with great seats when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. The seat view is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. One of the biggest reasons why I trust Gametime is they have those images of the seats. I know exactly where I'm sitting. I know exactly what to expect. No surprises because it's the image, it's the fees up front, it's everything that makes me feel confident about Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Gametime. Locked On Rockies here, back with you for segment number 3 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you again so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes and more, like Luke, who says, I'll argue that Doyle still does fit the Rockies time frame, and if he performs, he could easily be the Rockies face for 10 more years. This is in response to our Brett and Doyle episode from last week. This is his first year of arbitration, so we have at least 2 more years of team control after 26, meaning he does not have to get a longer contract until after 27. If Doyle shows in 26 that he can be the player he was in 24 or better, then I say we keep him under contract until we have to decide. If he is a stud on a team smart 5-year contract, it puts him at 31, 32 years old when we hope to expect to be relevant again. Honestly, I'm all for raising expectations on a healthy Doyle. A 30-30 season with 90 RBI is what I want to see to give him the 5-year deal. Hey, I like the idea of also putting that incentive for him, putting that challenge. Hey, we've seen this from you. We've seen we've seen what you can do. We've seen what happens when you get in a groove. Here's the challenge we're laying out for you, Brenton Doyle. Can you live up to that? Can you reach this challenge? Can you hit these incentives? That would be an interesting thing to see. Also, Rockies making some more moves here on the roster here as Drew Romo and Anthony Molina are no longer a part of the Colorado Rockies. Romo was claimed by the Baltimore Orioles. This is from Purple Row. Evan Lang, Rockies waive Drew Romo, Anthony Molina. Romo, 24, was claimed by the Baltimore Orioles after being selected by the Rockies 35th overall in the 2020 MLB draft out of his high school in the Woodlands, Texas. Once ranked as high as the organization's number 2 overall prospect, Romo was considered the Rockies' potential catcher of the future for his advanced defensive skills. Coming out of the draft, MLB Pipeline praised him for his Gold Glove potential with excellent hands, plus receiving and blocking skills and an outstanding arm that's aided even more by his quick release. In 5 minor league seasons, he hit 277, 329, 431 with 85 doubles, 14 triples, and 45 home runs. Romo made his major league debut in 24, but struggled at the plate. He had just 9 hits in 53 plate appearances and drew 2 walks to 18 strikeouts. He also hit 3 doubles. Romo also drew criticism, an awkward looping overhand throwing motion back to the mound. The motion was a bad habit that he had developed in the Rockies farm system. I was trying to throw the ball back to the pitcher, and he kept turning his head away, Romo said, so it made me very tentative. I didn't want to hit the guy, didn't want to hurt him or have the ball get away and runs to score, whatever. This one feels like a tough loss, and he was also kind of surprised at the move as well, tweeting back at there saying, guys, I'm very surprised too. Ever since I was drafted, it was my goal to bring the first World Series to Denver, and I wasn't able to do that. I'm sorry, but I'm so thankful for everything I've learned and all the people that and memories. Now time to bring the O's their next championship. Tough to see. I mean, this was one that I felt like the Rockies did not handle well. The Rockies, again, it was a short stint. It was weird. The minor league numbers were still good enough. The potential, the defense was there. And then for him to get a bad habit, like a bad throwback to the pitcher through the minor league system of the Rockies, that's just not a good look. And I think Romo is another example here of the Rockies and their, I don't know whether you call it just the inability to identify the talent, the inability to develop the talent, whatever you look at it here. This is a missed opportunity. I think this is a guy that certainly could have presented and certainly had the draft profile that made you intrigued and exciting. And for you to not, I don't know if not having a backup plan behind Hunter Goodman in the form of this wouldn't be a good option, because if this is someone whose defense is going to be the star of the show, could you benefit from having a defensive-minded catcher that can lead things off while Hunter Goodman moves to a DH type of role? We know that Goodman likes catching and hitting more. We know that's the comfortable stuff. But this was one that I feel like that was a missed opportunity here for the Rockies here. Also, the Rockies here losing Anthony Molina. He was waived and claimed by the Atlanta Braves. Back to Purple Row. Molina, 23, was originally claimed from the Tampa Bay Rays in the Rule 5 draft prior to the 24 season and was compared by team scouts to German Marquez. He made 35 appearances, including 1 start for the Rockies in 24, while posting a 6.79 ERA with 41 strikeouts. The Rockies originally intended to use Molina as a starting pitcher in 25. He made 15 starts with the AAA Albuquerque, but only 1 start with the big league squad. His other 16 MLB appearances came out of the bullpen with a 7.27 ERA over 34 2/3 innings. And I think my main reaction to a lot of this comes also with this quote here from that the Rockies here are getting from I'm sorry, I just had it here. Let me see if I can pull it back up. About the Rockies and their inability, like what the Rockies are looking at differently, looking at as a team, and how that their approach is different. And I know it's not good podcasting here, but I had it all pulled up, saved, and I'm trying to figure out. Anyway, it was basically saying that the Rockies are not going to give out they're not just going to give out playing time. They're not just going to give out opportunities. They're not just going to sit here and say, hey, you're a prospect, you're a guy, you're just going to automatically get the opportunity. This is what Kevin Henry has to say here from the Denver Gazette. One of the biggest takeaways from early talks with Paul DePodesta and Josh Byrnes is that Rockies will not just give at-bats/innings to players in 26 and beyond because they have no other choice. Sounds like much work will be done to build a pool of talent at all levels of organization. That is the standard that needs to be set here. You need to demonstrate that you deserve the spot on the field. You've earned your spot for playing time. You've earned your shot. You've earned your opportunity for major league reps. And we've sat there and said, for a long time, go with the youth, go with the opportunity, make sure that you're giving these guys time. And you need to do that. But guys need to demonstrate that they are ready and able and eager. I shouldn't say eager. They are ready and prepared for this opportunity. And this is a moment for a lot of guys in the Rockies system to prove themselves, because there's not a lot of noise about the Rockies system. There's not a lot of noise about the Rockies guys on the farm. So now's your time to prove that you deserve that playing time, because as much as the Rockies are, hey, let's throw people out there, let's figure out what we got. You can't just have that be the standard either. You need to have guys that are ready and prepared for the moment. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. And remember, folks, check out the Locked On Everydayers Club and make sure you're subscribed and followed to Locked On Rockies so you get all the latest episodes. We're going to keep talking about the changes that the Rockies are seeing throughout the organization here and the GM hire through this week, and what are we starting to see a new look Rockies? That's kind of the theme of this week. And did Locked On Rockies make your Spotify Wrapped or your others podcast network apps? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our National Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure to make your second listen Locked On MLB. Hey, we also got you covered with Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.